Look closer. Beyond the concrete and steel of our world, beyond the silicon and plastic, lies a hidden kingdom of elements. They are not forged in skyscrapers or labs, but born in the heart of the Earth's crust. These are the elements that define our age. This is why you need to pay attention to tiny rocks. They are the invisible force that powers your phone, connecting you to a global network in an instant. They are the silent revolution turning the wheels of your car, replacing pistons and gasoline with magnets and electrons. They are the unseen intelligence that guides our most advanced defense systems, from drones to missiles. They are called rare earth elements, and they are the lifeblood of the 21st century. Whoever controls them controls the future. The term rare earth is a bit of a misnomer. These 17 metallic elements aren't necessarily rare in terms of their abundance in the Earth's crust. Some are more common than lead or gold. The real challenge, the source of their strategic value, lies in the difficulty of finding them in economically minimal concentrations, and the complex, costly, and often environmentally hazardous process required to separate them from the surrounding ore and from each other. They are the heartbeat of modern technology. Let's meet some of the key players. Neodymium. This is the superstar, the foundation of the world's most powerful permanent magnets. These magnets are essential for the compact, high-efficiency motors in electric vehicles and the generators in wind turbines. Praseodymium is often alloyed with it, enhancing its magnetic properties. Then there's dysprosium. It acts as a guardian, allowing neodymium magnets to retain their power even at the high temperatures generated inside an EV motor or a military-grade drone. Without it, our high-performance machines would fail. And we can't forget the battery titans. Lithium, the ultralight metal that gives its name to the batteries driving the electric revolution. Its ability to store and release energy is unparalleled. Cobalt, this is the critical stabilizer. It prevents lithium-ion batteries from overheating and degrading, ensuring they are safe and long-lasting. And graphite, the unsung hero. It forms the anode, the negative electrode, that absorbs and releases lithium ions during charging and discharging. Together, this trio forms the core of the energy storage that will power our green transition. So how do we get from a patch of dirt to a high-performance magnet? The journey is a monumental feat of engineering and chemistry. It begins here, in vast open-pit mines. Tons of earth are moved to extract ore that might contain only a tiny percentage of the desired elements. Once extracted, the ore is crushed into a fine powder. Then comes the difficult part, separation. The crushed ore is subjected to a series of chemical baths, using powerful acids and solvents to leach the rare earth elements out of the rock, creating a chemical concentrate. But the elements are still mixed together. Because they share remarkably similar chemical properties, separating them is like trying to unscramble eggs. It requires a painstaking multi-stage process of solvent extraction, precipitation, and electrolysis, sometimes involving hundreds of steps to isolate a single, pure element. This is the critical bottleneck in the supply chain, and where much of the environmental cost is paid. This complex process has created a highly concentrated global supply chain. Today, just a handful of countries dominate production. Australia is a mining giant, a leading extractor of raw ores. The Democratic Republic of Congo holds the world's largest reserves of cobalt, a vital component for batteries. But for decades, the undisputed champion of this domain has been China. China doesn't just mine rare earths, it has mastered the entire value chain. It controls an estimated 85 to 90% of the world's processing and refining capacity. This means that even ore mined in the United States or Australia often makes a long journey to China to be transformed into usable metals and magnets. This dominance gives Beijing immense leverage over the global technology, energy, and defense industries. The journey from mine to factory relies on a fragile network of global shipping lanes. A single electric car battery can require kilos of lithium and cobalt. A wind turbine needs hundreds of kilograms of neodymium. All of it travels across the ocean. This makes strategic maritime choke points, like the Strait of Malacca or the South China Sea, potential flashpoints. Any disruption, whether from geopolitical tension, piracy, or an accident, could send shockwaves through the global economy, halting production lines for everything from iPhones to F-35 fighter jets. This concentration of power has triggered a global scramble. Nations are waking up to the vulnerability of their supply chains. The United States, the European Union, and Japan are now racing to catch up. This isn't just about economics. It's a matter of national security. We're seeing a surge in new policies. Governments are forming critical mineral alliances to coordinate supply. They're using subsidies to encourage domestic mining and processing. They're wielding export controls as a tool of foreign policy. And they're building up national stockpiles, a 21st century version of a strategic oil reserve. The great power competition is no longer just about armies and ideologies, it's about geology. Driving this geopolitical chess match is an insatiable economic demand. The transition to a green economy is paradoxically dependent on intensive mining. Every electric vehicle sold, every wind turbine erected, every solar panel installed dramatically increases the demand for these elements. This has led to wild price swings and a boom and bust cycle for investors. A sudden shortage can cause prices to skyrocket, while the promise of new mines can cause them to crash. It's a high-stakes market where fortunes can be made and lost on geological surveys and diplomatic whispers. But there is a darker side to this story that cannot be ignored. The environmental cost of rare earth extraction is immense. The chemical-heavy process creates vast quantities of toxic waste, known as tailings, which can contaminate soil and groundwater with heavy metals and radioactive elements. And then there is the human cost. In places like the Congo, a significant portion of cobalt is extracted through artisanal mining, where workers, sometimes children, toil in perilous, unregulated conditions for meager pay. The clean energy powering our cities often begins with profound environmental degradation and human rights abuses thousands of miles away. So, are we trapped in this cycle? Not necessarily. The race is on to innovate our way out of this dilemma. Scientists are developing new motor designs that use fewer or no rare earth magnets. In the battery world, chemistries like lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, are reducing the reliance on cobalt. And the next frontier is emerging: sodium-ion batteries, which use abundant and cheap salt instead of lithium. Perhaps the most promising solution is right in front of us: recycling. Our old phones, laptops, and EV batteries are urban mines, rich deposits of already processed critical minerals. Developing efficient, cost-effective ways to reclaim these elements is paramount. It would create a circular economy, reducing our dependence on new mining, mitigating environmental damage, and securing a more stable supply. The bottom line is this: these tiny, powerful elements under our feet have become the fulcrum of modern geopolitics, supercharging the intersection of technology, trade, and national security. The next great war may not be fought over oil, but over the rocks that power our digital and green future. Understanding this new reality is no longer optional, it's essential.